masters of speed. This is Formula One.
Yo, good morning, hello, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. So, Singapore then, let's get into it. Let's go and see if this setup works for you guys. Works for me absolutely fine. So, front wing 50, rear wing 48. I've gone with this, right? Singapore is quite a difficult circuit. Obviously, the more you increase the tyre wear, the more you race around, the more you increase the tyre wear. If you go through the bridge section at midway through sector 2, end of sector 2 rather, I should say, the car can become squirrely and you can end up face planting a wall, and nobody wants that, right? So I've gone with 50-48. Works fine for me. However, for the more professional of you guys, the guys who are far better than I am, you can take this down. You could kind of run a Zandvoort setup. I think a Zandvoort setup is like a 50-42 or a 50-41. But yeah, by all means, take it down 50-42. I would not recommend going any lower than 42, but it's entirely up to you. And for the sake of this setup, I've just gone with a 50-48. Provides all the stability that I need, and yeah, it works really well for me. So yeah, you just change it to what you want to race. On the transmission, I've gone with a 65% on diff, 40% off diff, engine braking 100%. Obviously, you need that battery to recharge as quick as possible. But yeah, this works. If you find that you're overheating the rear tires, take the on diff down. You know, maybe start off with a 30% off diff, and then yeah, go with that. But for the sake of this setup, I've gone with 65, 40, 100. On the suspension geometry then, yay, look at all this stuff that you can change, which makes absolutely zero difference to the car handling. Because trust me, I've tried. I've spent a long time doing setups, and it's just disappointing. But it is what it is. On the suspension then, I've gone with obviously a very stiff or firm front suspension, gone with a very soft rear suspension, but again, if you feel you need a little bit more stiffness in the rear suspension, take this up by all means. Again, just like all the other things, I wouldn't recommend going any higher than 10. Singapore, you don't need it. Not at all, really. You have to remember that Singapore is a lot like Hungary, Monaco, Zandvoort. Obviously, Singapore is probably more closer to Monaco with the closeness of the walls to the circuit. But yeah, just remember, just like Monaco, you need to send it. You need to forget about the walls and just absolutely send it. On the front anti-roll bar, obviously the firmest you can go, 21. Gone with a rear anti-roll bar of 14. Again, if you need more stiffness in the rear, by all means take it up. Take it to the max if you like, but you have to remember, just keep an eye on tyre wear. The main thing around Singapore or around any street circuit or any circuit, obviously where the walls are close. Australia can probably come under the street circuit banner. You have to keep control of your tyre wear, especially the rear tyres. If you overheat the rear tyres, you slip slide, and the chances of you face planting a wall are significantly increased. Onto the front ride out then, I've gone with 20 on the front. There aren't very many curbs to ride around Singapore, so you can keep it around with 20. If you do find though that you are riding the curbs, there is a curb, two curbs in fact, almost at the end of sector 3. Sorry, at the end of sector 2. Sector 2 is quite a long one around Singapore. If you're riding those and you're bottoming out a little bit, by all means take this up. But for the sake of this, I've gone with 20, and then I've gone with a rear ride out of 60. So again, like the rear roll bar and suspension, if you feel that you're bleeding too much speed down that little bit of a straight, that the two straights that we have at Singapore, by all means take this down. Wouldn't recommend going any lower than 55, simply because you could potentially bottom out. onto the brakes then. I've gone with 98% brake pressure, simply because there are a few heavy braking zones, and you do not want the rears locking, simply because if you spin, like I said, going through the bridge section, or at the end of sector 2, start of sector 3, the walls are in such close proximity, there's the potential you spin into the wall and that's race over pretty much. So yeah, I've gone with 98% on the brake pressure, and I've gone with 56% on the front brake bias. Take that up to 58 if you like. Wouldn't recommend going any higher than 58 though. And obviously, for those who are much more have a much more deft touch than I have, take it down by all means. But yeah, for this setup, I've gone with 98, 56, and again, I'm only talking to those who use ABS off. For ABS on users, this part is irrelevant. And then onto the tires. Standard tire setup. There is no other way I can describe it. Yeah, hope it helps. I really do. Do all that good stuff. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Just want to say a massive thanks to all those all those new subscribers. Keep on subscribing, and we'll keep on making the setups. Hope they help, guys. You take care.
Peace.